Alright, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm coming at you with a new video. Today we're going to come at you with 5 tips on how to beat the AI on All-Madden in Madden 19. I know this is a highly debated topic this year in Madden. The skill level to play on All-Madden is a lot higher this year. The AI are a lot more powerful and a lot better, a lot harder to play against on All-Madden this year. So I want to come at you guys with 5 tips to help you beat the AI in Madden 19 on the All-Madden setting. So tip number 1 that I wanted to come at you guys with here today is the playbook. The most important tip, actually, I believe, is the playbook. So what you'll see here is that I have the Pittsburgh Steelers playbook, and I just want to demonstrate to you guys quickly that I want to demonstrate to you the difference between this playbook and the difference between a playbook that I use a lot, and that is Denver's playbook. So Pittsburgh's playbook has a lot of weak running plays. They have some good passing plays, so if you go to their spread formation, they have a unique passing play called the Steelers Cross, which is a lot different than the verticals play that is in most other playbooks. And it gets your guys running a little bit of a different route. So we're going to run that against a random defense here, and I just want to show you the different action that creates with these deep crossing routes. So what this gives you here is it gives you guys that break wide open down the field, so it's pretty much a guaranteed first down if you can read the defense and hit the open man when he breaks open. So we'll go ahead, we'll run it one more time just to kind of show you guys what happens. Guy breaks open, I get hit as I throw there, but I still complete the pass. So you get guys that are wide open like that, and that is actually a key that I wanted to show you guys, that is a lot different than the verticals in the other playbook that I like to use, which is Denver's, which isn't quite as effective. However, if you go to this formation, which is the wing pair, this is a single back formation that's in a lot of playbooks. But a lot of playbooks will have a dive out of this formation. And what the dive allows you to do is the action on the running play gets you going straight forward, which means you can choose a direction to run in. However, in most of the playbooks, unlike Denver's has the dive in it, in a few of the playbooks like Pittsburgh's, they have only plays like the power, which forces you to the right side of the field. Occasionally you can cut back. You have the halfback inside zone, which forces you to the left side of the field. And then all you have, you have counter plays, counter strong. You have a mountain halfback plunge, which brings a blocker over to the left side and causes a little bit of weird action and makes it a slower of a play and draws the defense in to let them know that it's a run. So what I'll go here and show you is the halfback inside zone against any defense. It's going to do what you want it to do. You see, you get an open running lane, but it starts you off in a little bit of a slower animation to the left side of the field. You take like a jump cut to the left side of the field, and it creates a lot of problems for you. So then what I want to do for you is I want to go ahead and I want to back out. I'll be back with you guys in a minute here, but we're going to come back with Denver's playbook and I'll show you this play. Alright, we're back, guys, and I'm going to show you this formation, the single back. It's the wing pair out of Denver's playbook we have now. And I want to show you that if you scroll up twice on their playbook, they have a halfback dive, which is a more direct play out of this formation, and not to mention that out of this formation there's a lot better passing plays. So we'll go ahead and run this against a random defense, but what I want to show you is the action on this is straightforward. They stacked up against us, so I'm going to go ahead and run it one more time. But what I want to show you is that the initial action has you going to the right, but not enough that you can't cut back and create a massive run for yourself. So it's a lot different out of this formation having this halfback dive like this than it is having the zone weak or something like that. So you can create a lot of space for yourself by having plays like this. So with that being said, with those couple of plays demonstrated, I wanted to let you guys know that the playbook is the most important thing. You want to find a playbook that works for you. You want to find a playbook like this one that has plays that you know that you can trust to get first downs and that you can trust to get the AI defense out of position. So whenever I'm running this playbook, I know that if I go with this single back wing pair, this halfback dive is going to be open a majority of the time. because what happens is they stack the defense to that side, and if for some reason they do what they're doing right here and they bring a guy over and they sit in their base defense, you can audible to pass plays to attack it. I like this PAX burst cross because what happens is that linebacker that's on the left side there won't be able to cover both the halfback and the tight end. So see, you get the halfback wide open. So what this leads me to is that you want to find a playbook that has plays that you can rely on, 5, 6, 7, or 8 plays that you know that you can rely on, like it is in this playbook. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you plays that I can rely on out of Denver's playbook to get me yards and get me first downs. So as I showed you, out of the wing pair, you can do the halfback dive, which will get you a lot of yards, and then you can also focus on running the tight end attack. And then when you call play action, it'll give you the PAX burst cross, which is a very good play to run out of this formation. Additionally, you can trust out of the gun formation. If you go into empty base flex, which is the spread formation for them, you can trust the verticals formation out of this. Theirs is a little bit unique in that it runs a drag route across the middle. And so what you can trust to have happen out of this is you can trust to have that wide receiver, Antonio Brown, to come open. So if you have a short yardage situation where you need to get a couple yards and you don't feel comfortable running the ball, you can get this play where all of your guys are on streaks. And as I said, so Vance McDonald here, the X button, he's running a deeper route than that crossing route out of the Steelers cross formation. So this will work because it frees up all that space on the right side of the field there, and it allows Antonio Brown to come free. And then what this leads me into is that there are multiple other plays in this playbook that work to get me similar yardage like that. So if you go to your formations and you go to gun, there's another play out here. If you go to the doubles halfback weak, and what this formation allows you to do is not only does it have good passing plays, but it puts the tight end on the right side of or on the opposite side of the halfback. And what that does for you is that if you choose to get an open running, if you choose to run the ball out of the shotgun formation, it puts the blocker on the action side, on the strong side of the field. So it gives you that extra blocker on that side of the field to give you an extra running lane. And as you can see there, you get a few extra yards because you have that tight end as an extra blocker in to be able to get you yardage. But more importantly, this double slants play is one of the most powerful plays in any playbook. I know that there are a couple others that run a similar play. And what this does is it allows you to roll out to the right, and your receivers will be wide open coming across the field. You just have to buy yourself a little bit of time. And as you can see there, we're playing against one of the top defenses in the game, the Baltimore Ravens, and that's Eli Rogers breaking wide open across the field. So if you can get a playbook like this with a couple plays that you know can get you yardage, can get you wide receivers wide open, go ahead and do it. And like I said, you want to look for formations like this that are dual purpose. You come out with this passing play, but you look for a running lane. If they leave that running lane open, you have your extra blocker in. He's on the strong side of the formation, so you know you can trust him. Then go ahead and run that play and get 5 yards off your rushing play. If you have a speed quarterback here, you can go ahead and run your speed quarterback. You can roll out and they either have to cover the man or they can come up to you, and it's going to allow you to either, run downfield for 10, 15 yards with your sprint quarterback, or it'll allow you to pass to a guy that's completely uncovered and get you a first down. So those are just a few of the plays out of this playbook that I like to run. And real quick, I would like to show you guys one more formation that I know I can trust out of Denver's playbook. And that's if you scroll all the way over, you can go to the doubles Y flex. And what this does is if you have a speedy tight end, there's a lot of plays out of this formation that you can use to trust to get your tight end the ball in any situation. Slot seams is a decent play that'll get you the tight end the ball in the seam, downfield wide open. Flood drive here is a good play with the wide receiver motioning over for a drag underneath, and then it leaves the tight end usually open over top. Or what I like to have, one of my favorite plays, and actually there's two on this screen that are really good. You have a halfback screen out of this formation to the strong side of the field where the tight end is, which is really powerful. And then Y sail. Y sail is a very good play to run with the tight end. If you have a little bit of a speedy tight end, more often than not, that tight end breaking out right there gets wide open, and you know that's a guaranteed 10-15 yards right there. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and get into my next point. Alright guys, so what I want to get into here now is I want to get into a point that is pretty important when you're playing defense, and that is matching personnel. As you can see here, we are in a formation where we're way out of position, okay? So what you want to do is you want to match personnel with the other team. And what it will show you, you always want to wait until the other team shows what they're coming out in before you pick a play. So if you look at a play like this, we came out in a pretty bad formation to match up against their offense. Now they're coming out in a spread formation, and we're coming out in a decent formation to match up against their offense. So what I want to go ahead and give you guys is a little bit of a rundown with all the defensive formations and show you guys what's good against what. So what you have here out of the Steelers defense, and what you'll have out of most of the defense, is your base formations. The Steelers have a combination of the base 3-4 and the base 4-4, and both of these are good run-stopping plays. My recommendation is that if you're playing the AI, you always want to come out in a 3-4 or a 4-4 or a heavy formation, a heavy base formation like this on first down against the AI. Because what will happen is the AI, more often than not, will run the ball against you. Even if they come out in like a passing formation, something that has 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, they're going to try and run the ball on you. And if you go ahead and give them good yardage early on a running play, it's going to set them up for easy first downs. So what you want to do is you want to come out and you want to be able to stop the run on first down. So this formation is also good in other situations where you come up against 2 wide receiver sets or 1 wide receiver sets or no wide receiver sets. If they have any more than 2 wide receivers and it's not first down, then you're going to want to go ahead and get into all of these formations. So the nickel formation, what it is it's a 3 cornerback set, and what it is it's meant to match up perfectly against a 3 wide receiver offense. So if they come out in 3 wide receivers, you want to come out in the nickel formation, and what this does, it puts 3 corners out there to match up against their wide receivers. And it leaves you with a little bit of an interior presence still, and an ability to stop a run out of a 3 wide receiver set, because you still match up with 4 down players and then 2 linebackers. But then there's also a formation called the big nickel, which is a very similar formation in that it has 3 defensive backs down to be able to cover. But one of those defensive backs is a safety or a sub-package linebacker. And so what this is if you don't feel confident coming out in the nickel and you still feel as if they're going to try and run the ball on you, but they're coming out in a 3 wide receiver set, go ahead and go into the big nickel, because that puts a little bit of a bigger package on the field and gives you a little bit more run stopping capability than the nickel does, while also maintaining a pass coverage capability. And this is meant to be more of a zone coverage type of defense if you're going to run out of it. If you're going to run the big nickel, which is one of the best formations in Madden this year, cover 9 is one of the better plays to run, as well as cover 6 trap. So both of those plays are pretty good to run out of that formation, but like I said, those are for 3 wide receiver offenses. Then, if they come out in a 4 wide receiver offense or a spread offense, you want to come out in either the big dime or the quarter. And so what these formations will allow you to do is it'll allow you to have many defensive backs on the field with little chance of them running the ball on offense. You're going to have the personnel on defense to be able to match up with their offense. You're going to have 4 corners, and you're going to have 2 safeties back with 2 linebackers and only 3 down players to pass rush. And what the quarter does is it subs out that extra linebacker for another safety. So this is like the ultra pass defense coverage. So if you're up big late in the game and they're not threatening to run the ball at all, come out in the quarter formation and sit back in zone coverage and try and get an interception. What that'll put on the field is 4 corners and 3 safeties, 1 linebacker to help tackle in case there is some type of run, and then 3 down players to rush the quarterback. And so that's the basics of how to match up against personnel. If you're not coming out and you're not matching up personnel against the AI on All-Madden, they're going to run the ball all over you and pass the ball all over you. What often happens is I see people hitting the coach suggestions, which you never want to do on defense. And what it'll do is, the offense will be coming out in a heavy formation, like that single back pair formation that I like to run out of, and the AI, the coach suggestion will bring you out in a quarter formation, and there's no way to stop that, because what'll happen is they'll come out, they'll have 5 down linemen, they'll have 2 tight ends, and they're blocking guys that are half their size. You only have 3 guys or 4 guys that are big enough to sustain a block on defense against those offensive players, and then everybody else is going to get ran over. And so that's why a lot of people have trouble on All-Madden. They have trouble because they pick coach suggestions on defense and don't put in the time and effort to go ahead and match up personnel whenever the AI comes out on offense. Like I said, if they're coming out to run the ball, come out in your base defenses. If they're coming out with more wide receivers, match that up with the number of cornerbacks that you have in your different formations on defense. And then that leads me to my next point. We'll go ahead and get into here in a second. So point number 3 to help you guys win on All-Madden against the AI is to always possess the ball and make smart choices. And what I mean by this is at the end of halves, you want to make sure that you're running the ball and chewing clock. If you're not at a point where you're comfortable scoring a lot of points on the AI yet, if you're just struggling to get wins, what you want to do is you want to possess the ball. You don't want to put the ball in positions where it can get intercepted, and you don't want to fumble the ball a lot. And so a couple of things that will help you do that. First of all, to eliminate fumbles. Number 1, whenever you're running with the quarterback, you want to always slide, and I'll demonstrate that with you real quick here. And you want to limit the amount of times that you do run with the quarterback, in fact. So if I go ahead and run with a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger, and I get hit, more often than not, you're going to fumble the ball in Madden 19. It's just the nature of the beast. It's the way they have it programmed. You're going to fumble the ball a lot. I'm not sure if it's going to happen here in training camp, but it happens more often than not if you're playing in a game. But what you want to do in order to slide is you pull back on the stick and press square. Before you're ready to slide and before the defender comes anywhere near you, you want to go ahead. You want to go forward, then let up, pull back on the left stick, and press square, and you'll slide. You'll prevent yourself from getting hit. You'll prevent yourself from fumbling, and you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble in the end. So that's number 1 to possessing the ball. Number 2 to possessing the ball, we're going to go ahead and come out in the single back dive, the halfback dive. And what you want to do is if you're in a position where you know you're going to get tackled, hold R1. And see, all I did was hold R1 there. I didn't even make a move, but Le'Veon Bell protected the ball. He protected the ball, and he even made a move on his own. So that'll happen a lot when you play on All-Madden. If you just hold R1 before you're about to get tackled, you're going to limit the amount of times you take big hits and fumble, and you're also going to increase your chances of breaking off of tackles. So I'm going to come up to him, hold R1, and he's going to protect the ball. It's not a huge animation this year. You can't tell a big difference, but if you do hold R1, see, he covers it with both arms, and he just kind of pushes forward for a couple extra yards. So that's the couple ways to avoid fumbling. And now in terms of defense, or in terms of not throwing interceptions, rather, in terms of possessing the ball this way, don't be afraid to check down on offense. You don't have to get big yardage every play. There's no reason to be throwing the ball up into triple coverage. If I go back and watch an instant replay on that play, I'm trying to force the ball to Antonio Brown, but what does that do for me? That does absolutely nothing. You're trying to throw it up to your big playmaker, and you have 2 guys in coverage, a superstar safety over top, when realistically I could have gotten this ball off to Jesse James or Vance McDonald's it looks like, and I could have put the ball right here with no chance of anybody getting to him and gotten virtually the same amount of yardage. See, if that ball when it arrives, if it arrives right here, like it's supposed to, that's potentially a touchdown for Vance McDonald. So what you want to do is you want to not be looking so deep on all of your routes. You want to be running short routes and working your way down the field. You don't want to do huge plays over and over again because it's just going to cost you a lot in the long run. You don't want to put the ball, like I said, in positions that are going to compromise your offense and compromise possession of the ball. So right there, easy catch, possession catch. Don't be afraid to possession catch in the middle of the field. It'll increase your chances of catching the ball and decrease your chances of fumbling or throwing an interception later on. As you can see there, I did a poor job of covering the football. I chose not to cover the football. I chose to try and truck, and I got hit stick. In a game, that's potential to be a fumble. Right there, I covered the ball, and it gave me a chance to break the tackle. I just didn't get a chance to press triangle in time to break that tackle. What I'll go ahead and do, hold R1 again, kind of push my way through, and I get 5 yards on the run. So those are just a couple tips on how to possess the ball, how to keep the ball out of the AI's hands, because the AI offense is so powerful this year. You want to chew the clock as much as possible. You want to control the clock, and you want to make it your game. At first, you're going to have low-scoring games, but once you get comfortable with your base playbook, the sets, the plays that you can count on, and once you start getting comfortable playing on All-Madden, you'll be able to eventually turn it up. You'll be able to score a lot of points. You'll be able to expand your playbook and expand your playmaking ability, and you'll eventually start blowing out the AI on All-Madden. So what we've covered so far, you want a playbook that you're comfortable with. You want to have plays that you can rely on. Number 2, you want to be able to match personnel on defense. And number 3 is possess the ball. Make smart choices. Read the defense. Don't throw it into double, triple coverage. If the defense is showing a blitz on you, don't always hike the ball right away. Wait and see if a defender is going to come up to the line of scrimmage, because oftentimes they'll show the blitz, right as you're about to hike the ball. So wait a little bit and wait for them to show the blitz, and then you'll be able to adjust accordingly. You'll be able to audible into another play that's going to put you at less risk for losing yardage, fumbling, or throwing an interception. And so then the next one that I want to get to is a little bit related to the play calling in general, is you want to get the defense out of position. So in a play like this, the defense will come out with its simulated coach suggestion type of thing. It does what it tries to give to you when you press coach suggestion. So it will come out with a guess on what it should do on defense. And so what you can see here is we can take advantage of the fact that they're out of position. We got them out of position. We ran this play here, and they decided to come out in a quarter formation, so we're going to be able to get a huge run off of this. They're out of position. So this is easy here. Same formation. This is the exact same formation. They have trouble matching up against this. So they're stacked more so to the right side of the football. They're going to be out of position if I try and cut this ball back to the outside. Not sure what happened there. We kind of juked backwards, but Terrell Suggs just made a good play. Now, in terms of this formation, they're hanging down. So you can get them out of position by calling this pass play and getting that linebacker or whoever covers on that side out of position. They're not going to be able to cover both players. I threw it to the wrong person that time, but the tight end and the running back were both open. Right here, they're out of position. They're really trying to cover this hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that same play. I'm going to slide my pass protection to the left to make sure we block the guy on the left in case he rushes. And then we're going to go ahead and we got them out of position. We got guys open. We just happened to get the ball batted at the line of scrimmage, but Le'Veon Bell was open, and we had a couple guys downfield that were open. In this formation, again, we got them out of position because this is a tough formation to cover. They have a bunch of guys off the line of scrimmage to the right side, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to try and run it to the right side. Every play is not going to work, but you want to try your best to get them out of position any way that you possibly can. So right here, I'll show you this slant out of this. We know, like I said, we waited and we saw that Weddle's going to try and, or I guess it's not Weddle, it's their other safety, is going to try and blitz here. So we're going to throw against it. We're going to try and hit Brown in that gap right where that safety's coming from. it's going to be open because nobody's covering it. So right there, boom, gap right where that safety came down from. We got them out of position. We read the blitz, and we saw exactly where they were coming from. This is another example where they have the whole defense shifted over to the strong side where those tight ends are, and I'm going to go ahead and run it. And they were out of position. The linebacker just happened to come up and make the play. But if you saw, if that linebacker doesn't come up and make this play, if he doesn't blitz right off the bat, if they don't blitz their entire defense, I'm one-on-one with a slow safety and Eric Weddle, and I could have I have potential to be able to make a move. And even Villanueva is out here getting the block on him. So imagine this guy doesn't make the tackle on me. If he doesn't blitz, he's going to be caught up, right here in this mess. And I'll be able to run the ball right out here. And all I have to do is read my block. He's got a block on him, and he's holding a block here. I potentially have to make one move, but I could get this touchdown to the outside because we had them out of position to start. They loaded up on this side of the ball, and we read it, and we knew that we needed to move. We needed to move the ball and cut the ball back to the left side because we had an advantage. So that's tip number 4 in playing against the AI, and that's going to be a huge one for you guys. You want to look for those situations where you're getting the defense out of position. It's huge. You want to learn what plays you can run that are going to get the defense out of position, and that's a good one to start with. Last but not least, the last tip for playing on All-Madden is that you want to take advantage of bad matchups on All-Madden. What'll happen often, and it happens to everybody, even when you're playing against users, you're going to get bad matchups, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So say we come out in the spread formation on offense, the empty base flex. So we have 4 wide receivers and a tight end split out, or I guess it'd be 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back split out, and we go with this verticals formation. And then say that for some reason the defense reads it wrong and they come out and say, this 4-4 cover 1 or something like this. You need to recognize the fact, and you can do this if you hold in R2, and then you use the right stick to scroll through each player to check the speed, and it'll tell you who has better speed than the other players. And what I'm looking at here is that Antonio Brown has 10 better speed than the guy that he's matched up on. It looks like he's matched up on Terrell Suggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take advantage of this matchup. I'm going to set Bell on a curl route in an effort to prevent that defensive back from going deep. And then I'm going to send Brown on a fade. I want him to go out towards the sideline out there. I want him to beat his man because he has a 10 speed advantage. And then I want to throw the ball over and out to be able to avoid the safety in the middle of the field. So I'm going to do just that. Up and over to the outside of the field, and we took advantage of the bad matchup. We just threw a little bit of a bad pass, but what you have to recognize here is the fact that you have them way out of position. You have your guy in a position, a 10 speed advantage. They have a linebacker matched up on a wide receiver, and it's going to give you a great opportunity to get an easy touchdown. And I could go on all day giving you guys examples of taking advantage of matchups, but it's easy. You can do anything here. If you send a guy on a slant route like this, Eli Rogers, he's matched up man on man with that guy. He's never going to be able to cover him. He gets wide open crossing across the field, and you take advantage of a linebacker covering a speedy, quick wide receiver. They're never going to be able to do anything about it, even though it's on All-Madden and they're coded to be really good. They can't do anything about the speed differential. So what you want to do, you want to take advantage of bad matchups. You want to throw to people that you can get open, and that's the final tip to beating All-Madden this year in Madden 19. I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick recap of the 5 tips to beating All-Madden on Madden 19, and those tips are: 1. Find a playbook that you like that has a base set of plays that you can rely on, that can get you yards in multiple different situations. Be flexible, use plays that are use formations that are going to be good for the pass and the run. And if you have to, create a playbook with plays that you like. Tip number 2, always match personnel. Whenever you come out on defense, read what the offense is coming out in before you pick your formation, and then pick a formation that matches the personnel of the offense. because it will give you the best chance to cover their receivers in the pass game, and it will give you the best chance to stop the run against the All-Madden offense. Tip number 3 is to possess the ball and make smart choices. You want to be able to read the defense, you want to know when they're blitzing, and you want to make sure that you're holding onto the ball as long as you can and making it your game. Play the way that you want to. Don't pass downfield deep into double or triple coverage. Work your way down the field slowly, using plays that you know like and you know you can get yards on, and then start to expand your horizons as you get better and get more comfortable playing on those sliders. When you start to time things better, start to throw in newer plays here and there just to see what works, and you'll be blowing the AI out on All-Madden. Tip number 4 is to always get the AI out of position. Know what plays in your playbook get the AI out of position and recognize when they're out of position. You want to attack those areas if they're, you come out in an overload formation to one side and they shift their defense over. You want to attack the weak side where they have a lack of defenders, and you want to make sure that you get yardage whenever you are matched up against a defense that's completely out of position. You want to be able to recognize that, and it'll take a little bit of time, but once you start recognizing when the defense is out of position, you'll be able to get easy, quick 5-10 yard plays and just move the ball down the field real quick and easy and get touchdowns. And then last but not least, take advantage of bad matchups on defense. You want to every play when you come out, you want to check the speed of each player on offense against the defense. You want to know early on in the game who's going to be able to beat who and what you're going to have to do to win the game. Over here we know that Bell as a running back has better speed than the corner. Antonio Brown's matched up on a linebacker. Eli Rogers is matched up on a linebacker. We know that out here on the outside, Smith-Schuster is not in a good matchup against a good corner. He's got less speed, so we're going to stay away from him. But we're going to use him as a tool to run off the corner deep out there and potentially get another guy open. So you want to know what your matchups look like. You want to know your speed and the speed against the guys against you. And the easiest way to do that is to hold R2 pre-play and just scroll through and with the right stick and take a look at the speed differential. It'll tell you, Antonio Brown versus the guy that's covering him. Antonio Brown has +5 speed, and +34 release rating, +20 route running. Take note of those things and use those to your advantage. Take advantage of these bad matchups where, the defense has linebackers covering your wide receivers, or you have a fast tight end and they have a slow guy covering your tight end. Anything like that. Take advantage of bad matchups. And with that, all I want to do is say good luck, guys. Go out, beat All-Madden. Let me know in the comments section if you like this video, if it helped you out. If it did help you out, subscribe to the channel. I'll be coming at you guys with more videos. Check out some of my other segments. You might be able to learn a thing or two. You might enjoy watching me play my franchises. I have a Steelers franchise where we play each game on All-Madden, and you might be able to learn a little bit about how I play. I also have a Miami Dolphins rebuild. You might be able to learn some tips about how to build a good team and what I look for whenever I'm building a team on All-Madden, either in a simulation league or against other users in a competitive league. I do the same things. I also have uploaded some Rainbow Six Siege gameplay, and I have a segment called Let's Talk where I'll be coming out with another episode here soon, where we just talk about some issues that are prevalent in today's society, some things that are going on that affect YouTube and different games and whatnot. So go ahead, check that stuff out. If this video helped you, leave a like and subscribe. Have a good day, guys.